The Endurance Asia podcast.
And always tell the truthful story if they ever ask. Stop the complaining because things ain't that bad.
I want to talk about Team Avaya and more specifically around Nathan. He has, at the end of the course, or he said just beforehand that this is his ultimate race. This is his final expedition and race, and he's hung up his hat. He's put down his he's put down his compass, and he is going to head off onto the trails. What has he meant for the sport? And what's your thought around Nathan and his career?
Well, I guess, I've had time to think about it and stuff, and it's hard to probably put into words his kind of impact on sport. It's been vast, but I think, most other sports out there, like football, cricket, NFL, NBA, a lot of sports are based on personalities. That's your team is, Beckham, Ronaldo, your cricket heroes, LeBron, whatever it is. Sport is personalities. But I actually don't. Adventure racing has never, certainly not in the last 20 years or so. Adventure racing is about location. It's it's almost like mountaineering. It's the Everest as opposed to the personality. It's the location takes precedence almost over the personalities, which is kind of unusual in sport. There's probably only one individual that can challenge that kind of standard. How I look at adventure racing is about Fjordland. It's not necessarily the teams. It's Fjordland, or we're going to Rotorua, or
it's almost the same in cycling as well. I think it's like the Tour de France, or I think my dad was obsessed about the Tour de France, but more from just watching all the beautiful views of the mountains. Yeah. Didn't really whoever won it year to year, didn't really care, but it was more about the course that they were doing. Yeah. I suppose
I think we've kind of always thought about with the chapters and with the location. It's such a key part of the adventure racing psyche, and the motivation is that the location and the terrain and the views, they really are the linchpin of adventure racing. But if there's one personality in the last 20 years that has been able to maybe break that or to rise above it, it's Nathan. No one else has. And I think that's a testament to how people respect his mana, his reputation, his standing, the work he's done, encouraging all sorts of generations of young adventure racers into the sport, the work he does with those foundations, what he's done with women's adventure racing with the Spring Challenge, and then obviously at his own performance level. He's probably the only person in the sport who I would say is a legit personality in a sport which is actually dominated by that environmental terrain or location. And I think, as I say, it's a real testament to the person that he is. And when he talks, people listen. When he says something, he's mainstream news here in New Zealand. And there's very few other people, I say, who have that mana or that respect to ask him a question and listen. And, he'll be a big loss. And I think it'll probably be the last race for Sophie as well, because I think those two are intrinsically linked as part of the team. And I think, part of her reason for her keep coming back and racing was that she just loved being part of that group of four. And, I've raced for a long time and been lucky enough to see a lot of teams come through God's Zone, but there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that is the best group of four people who have ever raced in a team since, the sport began in 1989. There's no better team. And they're going out on top and with no apparent chinks in the armor. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And you're right. What a way to go out. I mean, I think for most sports, you never see people go out on top, do you? It's always like, whether it be football, soccer, whether it be, I'm a big fan of mixed martial arts or boxing or whatever, they're always just one more until they're beaten, broken people. And it leaves you with the taste of, you forget what they were like at the peak. And I think that no one will ever forget just how incredible Nathan has been and what an important sort of linchpin to the sport he's been. And I think it's pretty commendable to go out winning the toughest race in the world.
The Endurance Asia podcast.
And always tell a truthful story if they ever ask. Stop the complaining, cause things ain't that bad.